What's up, everybody? Bricktologist here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, then welcome back. Now, I don't do many long-form videos, so I decided to fill this gap in my content with a Portal Theory series. Now, as recording this video, it's March 9th, 2024, which is a day that MatPat released his final goodbye to YouTube video. Now, in that video, he said, "We are game theory," and that kind of is what inspired me to create this. Now, I've had this idea for a couple weeks now, but that really, inspired me to kickstart it today. Anyways, let's get into it. So if you don't know what Portal is, it's a cross-platform 3D puzzle platformer game. Now, what you do is you make use of something called the Portal Gun, or more particular, the Aperture Science handheld portal device. And so what it is, you shoot one portal, shoot another on white walls, and you'll walk through or throw an object through and it comes out the other side. Really simple mechanics, although the game itself is not that simple. Now, first couple chambers. So there's 19 total chambers in the first game. But of course, there's also a boss fight, which I'm gonna try and steer away from spoilers in this. Of course, with it being a theory series, it's kind of unavoidable. So anyways, if you don't know what Portal is, as I mentioned, well, you've probably seen some icons of it. This being maybe the Portal Gun, the Companion Cube, GLaDOS, or maybe even the ominous phrase, "the cake is a lie." This is probably, alongside the Companion Cube, the most popular thing. It's plastered kind of everywhere now. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. I'll talk about it later in this series and possibly even today, depending on how far we get. Now, in this series, there are 5 total games: Portal 1, Portal 2, Bridge Constructor Portal, Portal Pinball, and the LEGO Dimensions Portal 2 level pack. Now, the latter 3 don't really add anything to the lore and will, not even be referenced throughout this series. Portal 1 and Portal 2 kind of hold all the lore and most of the gameplay. Portal 2 LEGO Dimensions level pack is really good on its own, but, once again, not that much lore, and it isn't even canon. So we can't really use that as a source. But so once again, Portal 1, Portal 2, main games and main sources. Now, as the first episode, why don't we talk a little bit about Aperture Science? Now, let's talk about the history and stuff, not so much the theories that I have on it. That'll be more for a later episode. But so let's get into it. So, around the early 1940s, Aperture Science was created by Cave Johnson under the name Aperture Fixtures, in which it made shower curtains. Kind of surprising. Anyways, later on in the later 1940s, they renamed it to Aperture Science to go for a more professional approach and, justify increased prices and all that. So they actually did have a competitor a little bit later on called Black Mesa, which is the main company that you play as and stuff in the, Half-Life series. Aperture is mentioned a couple times, I believe, there, but Black Mesa is also mentioned a couple times in Portal 2. Now, so it's important to know that Portal and Half-Life take place in the same series, same universe, so they're kind of the same series in a sense, just different titles. Anyways, let's get back to Aperture Science. So, in the 50s, they actually started beginning, a scientific approach and started doing more stuff relating to science and moving away from shower curtains. This included human testing, in which at the time they were getting government funding. So what they would do is they would hire war heroes, Olympians, and astronauts to go and help test their devices. So they didn't actually test for a lot of things in particular. As Cave Johnson put it, they just throw science at the wall to see what sticks. So they were kind of random testing.
They say great science is built on the shoulders of giants. Not here. At Aperture, we do all our science from scratch. No hand-holding.
But a little bit later on, they actually moved towards a quantum tunneling kind of means of teleportation. This led to the development of the Aperture Science handheld portal device, or just for short, the Portal Gun. Now, they were actually in a race to do this with Black Mesa, which later ended up getting all the funding, leaving Aperture bankrupt. So there's not much to say about during the time between the creation of the Portal Gun and when Aperture went bankrupt, but there's a couple of things I want to highlight. 2 of these being the propulsion gel and the repulsion gel. So the propulsion gel is an orange gel featured in Portal 2, in which you would speed up when walking on it. So it's kind of, makes you go into a run, speeds you up, and allows you to launch off of ramps instead of using aerial faith plates, which will be mentioned a little bit later. And also we got, repulsion gel. So this is more of kind of like a trampoline. If you can imagine, when you touch it, you kind of bounce back with the same energy that you hit it with. So both of these featured in Portal 2 allow for really dynamic testing. Well, they'd call it testing. And so it just allows for really unique gameplay unseen in pretty much any other video game previous to that. Now these were just some of the first, the first major things of Aperture Science that they made. So they did make a couple other things, but that's a little bit later on. So let's go on move to our third gel. Now our third and final gel is called Conversion Gel. It basically makes it so that any surface it touches will become a surface that you can place a portal on and, portal through. So what this is it's a white gel, unlike the orange and blue. And so what this was made out of was ground up moon rocks. Now Aperture Science actually bought $70 million worth of moon rocks, which they could not afford by any means, and ground it up into gel. So this actually kind of led to Cave Johnson's death, as it turned out that ground up moon rocks were deadly poisonous. So yeah, good for him. This is actually where the famous quote, "When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade," so on, so on. I'll play that quote actually right now.
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
As you can see, this kind of made Cave Johnson a little bit violent, but it's not like he always was. He was always kind of violent in general. Now, he would just ruthlessly test people on and on. But, it wasn't that bad. Okay, kind of was. But let's get back to Aperture Science. So, during this time, they were actually in development of a AI sentient robot called GLaDOS for short. GLaDOS standing for Genetic Lifeform and Disk Operating System. Now, what this was a sentient AI robot capable of running the whole entire facility. Now, what would happen is this was worked on by Doug Ratman and Henry. Unfortunately, we don't know Henry's last name. This can be seen in the Lab Rat comic, which will be referenced many times throughout this theory series. Anyways, GLaDOS was kind of way more violent than Cave Johnson would ever be. She would try and murder everybody within 1/10 of a picosecond. Now, some of this would be by very, very odd means, such as neurotoxin. So this was actually success twice. Now, the first time it wasn't that big of a deal. A couple people died, not that big. Easy to cover up and stuff for Aperture. But then the second time actually killed the entire facility. GLaDOS killed everybody on Bring Your Daughter to Work Day, which was it's kind of a big event in the Portal series, as you can imagine. So Portal actually takes place, we don't know exactly how long after Bring Your Daughter to Work Day incident, nor Portal 2, because these dates are completely unknown, even more unknown than when Aperture was founded and etc. So most of the stuff that I'm getting this from, mind you, is from the wiki or the games or the Lab Rat comic. Those are my three main sources. Anyways, so I basically covered the main things of Aperture Science. Then let's go into some of their newer technology. So they have the weighted companion cube, aerial faith plates, and then Aperture Science storage cube, which was, it's like the companion cube, but instead of being a pink heart and stuff, it's just blue. Not much to say about that. It's just a standard testing object. The companion cube is, pink heart. I showed a picture of it earlier on. Here's a picture of it right here. So this is actually a big icon of the franchise. We're not quite sure about it, why it exists, but I'll for sure be making a theory video just on that alone. And there's aerial faith plates, which it's kind of like a launcher, like it catapults you in a certain direction. Now, there's one other thing. Some people find this the most annoying, some people absolutely love it, and that is the crusher. So, this isn't seen too much in the games, but it is used by Wheatley the Moron. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I'll try and, as mentioned, kind of go spoiler free, but with it being a theory series, it's kind of hard. Anyways, now when I said the Crusher was the last thing, I lied. The last thing is actually the Aperture Science turret, which is my favorite out of everything. Now, These little buggers, they will shoot you down as soon as you're in sight. They'll point a red laser at you and immediately start shooting you. Now, they do seem kind of annoying, but they are hilarious. They'll say stuff like, "Is anyone there?" or "Gotcha" once they shoot you. You know, they also say stuff like, "It burns," "Ouch," etc., stuff like that. But they also are amazing singers. Amazing singers. There's part in Portal 2 where if you shoot and blow up the turret in the kind of vent, sort of, it'll blow a hole in the vent and you can crawl through it and you can kind of see like a whole chorus of turrets. And also at the end of Portal 2, as you're going up the elevator, you can also see a whole symphony of like hundreds of turrets singing at you. And it's amazing. Now, there are a couple things I didn't mention, such as the rocket turret, or the security cameras, the emancipation grill. Those, all things I didn't mention, they're not like super duper important. I'll go over them in later videos for sure. Probably make a couple separate videos for stuff like the emancipation grill. But so yeah, I'm pretty much done with the objects for right now. So that's pretty much it as for Aperture Science history. I'll probably end up making a in-depth one later on in the series, but this was just kind of like an introduction, sort of, and just, to get people acquainted with a couple of the items in the games, as well as the facility itself. So, I'll go ahead and leave this video here. Let me know if I should continue the series. I'll probably do it regardless of if you say yes or no. So, just be, fair warning. If you watched till the end, then congratulations. I did not expect anybody to, so you've severely passed my expectations. And, have a good day or night, depending on what your time is. And see you in the next one. Oh, and of course, in the words of Matt Pat, that's just a theory.